Hey, you're listening to the Timmy Riggs podcast, Life in the Meantime. Super excited that you're jumping on today. I will be talking about practices, ultimately self-discipline, things like that. And so hopefully it can encourage you. I do have a word from a sponsor today, and that sponsor is me, actually. I want to tell you about the Meantime group. This is going to be a group for men ages 18 to 40-ish. Haven't really landed on it yet, but I will be launching this group sometime very early fall. Sometime around late September, possibly. This will be an online platform that is focused around community engagement. So you would hop on, you'd create a membership, and you'd create a profile. You would then be able to have access to the community feed. In there, it's going to be focused around all the things I talk about in the meantime, foundationally around mind, money, and movement, how we move forward in those areas in our life. The group is great because it allows you to share what you're doing, where you're at in life, and others can begin to encourage, celebrate, and challenge you as you go on that path. We'll be doing 2 group Zooms per month. In those Zooms, the goal is for me to have one special guest in each one of those meetings as we are able to talk to one another, but also hear from an industry leader about where they're at in their life. Each month within the platform, we will have a focused topic. So it might be leadership, it might be how to be a good husband, it might be money management, whatever, something like that. And so those are the basics of it. If you become a member, you then will have early access to every event that I throw. So every Meantime weekend, you will hear about first. You'll have first dibs to it. Also, we will do one monthly get together if you're in the OKC area. My hope is that as this looks like it could be a national thing or even global, that possibly people who are involved could begin to create their own subgroups in whatever geographical area they find themselves in. So, the Meantime group, keep your eyes peeled. If you want to learn more about it, you can head to my website, timmyriggs.com/Meantime group, maybe, or you can just go to timmyriggs.com and use the navigation to get there to it. And if you have any questions about it, you can use a contact form on my website and ask me some questions. So, with that said, let's get into today's episode. I have been moving in the direction of saying, hey, I want to become my healthiest, best version of me. So when it comes to living the life you are pulled towards, the one where you begin to realize the highest vision you have for yourself, and ultimately the one where you have peace and joy in the meantime, there's a really important fact we have to realize. There will be a price to pay. I love this quote from Craig Rochelle. He says, discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. And he goes on to say, the path to public success is always paved with private discipline. Now, if your first initial reaction is, no, thank you, I've tried to be disciplined and it's too hard and I still enjoy my life, I want you to lean in because of this fact. The secret is, there is a cost both to comfort just as much as there is a cost of discipline. James Clear, the writer of Atomic Habits, says it this way: the cost of good habits you pay now, but the cost of bad habits you pay later. So let me throw out some examples. All right, working out and exercising, it just has a lot of moments where it just sucks and you don't really feel like you see any results. But when you stick to it day after day with good exercise and healthier eating, the science is just in. If your caloric intake is less than your calories burned, you can see weight loss within your first week. And then if you continue to follow the healthy routine, within 3 months, you will see significant weight loss combined with visible muscle being built. It only takes 3 months for muscle to truly begin to be built in a way that it's visible. All while feeling and looking better in your own skin, and will find yourself in better moods and have better sleep habits. So you might think, 3 months is a long time. But here's the deal. Those 3 months are going to go by either way. So if instead you chose to live out bad habits in those 3 months, like eating fast food regularly, things like highly processed foods and added sugars, combined with no exercise and binging shows on your couch every night, then you will see the opposite effect in 3 months. Probably some weight gain, and you won't feel any better, possibly even worse. Drowsy, poor sleep, etc. The discipline of working out and eating healthier hurts in the moment, but feels so much better when you begin to see and feel results. While the inverse is that the donuts you eat, being a couch potato, feels comfortable in the moment and tastes great, but we pay the price of weight gain and feeling like a sloth later. Let's look at money. Choosing to save for something rather than financing it hurts. But once you've done it, it feels so much better than having the monkey of debt on your back. Whereas if you finance something, you could be paying for years, usually by the point where the thing that you bought, you don't even care about anymore, but you're still paying it. This also bites a lot of people in the butt when it comes to investing and saving for retirement. But anyone that paid the price of saving for retirement and now enjoys the fruit of it has never regretted the choice to save. The list of examples could go on and on. My bottom line is that in the meantime, we get to choose the price we pay for the type of life we live. And paying the price for good habits, in my opinion, will always trump paying the price for bad ones. Here's how I began looking at my life and disciplines over the last few years. And I really do hope that you can find this useful, because I have made one really simple adjustment in the way I look at the disciplines in my life and are helping me become all that I know I can be. I changed the word from disciplines to practices. Okay, so really simple. At the root of it, it's the exact same thing. But I found a way to think about the hard things I need to do to be who I want to be in a way that inspires me. Let's take some elite athletes as an example. LeBron James, Tom Brady, and Patrick Mahomes, and insert any other elite athlete you can think of. They play at the highest level, and not only that, they dominate at it too. No doubt they're gifted and talented, but there's a lot more to it than that. Nowadays, we have a lot of cool, like behind the scenes footage of these guys working out in their respected crafts, right? So you can kind of see their day in, day out lives, whether it's on social media or specials that Netflix or ESPN does. So we're able to know that they put extreme focus in their schedules, diet, exercise, film study, game plans, and leadership skills. It's incredible. Always inspires me. And we're able to know that they don't just suit up for a game and wing it. Rather, they have created practices in their life, like the ones I named above, that help them produce the results we've come to expect from them over the years. But if you're like me, this thought probably comes in your mind. Sure, if I had a whole team of professionals and coaches around me and was paid millions and millions of dollars, then I could do the same thing. But I began to push back on that ideal when I realized that A, there are a lot of players that make it to the NFL or NBA or other sports that end up having very short careers due to the very fact that they squandered the opportunity by not implementing further practices to continue growing. And B, it's probably even more important than that, is the fact that before these guys really became household names, at some point in their life, they made the decision that they would do whatever it takes to become the best version of themselves. And so before the fame and money and accolades, they began to step into the right next practices to help them there. The key is to know this. The practices that they live by that keep them at the top of their game in some type of way are the practices that got them there in the first place. We have to do the work in our life before we know it will work. So this obviously transcends sports. And obviously I picked 3 super well-known guys, but there's been a ton of other athletes that have done the same thing as them, but just aren't quite as famous. But like I said, this goes beyond sports. This is the very blueprint that anyone who has had a successful business, career, marriage, health journey, faith, financial situation, or friendship has followed. It's baseline choosing to pay the price today for the rewards we truly want in the future. As we create an aim for our life, which I talked about in my recent episodes, we then can begin to inform ourselves on what it would take to make it happen. You'll then know what practices to start implementing. And usually they're not big, mysterious things. At the end of the day, we almost always know what it is we need to do. The issue is we just have to commit. And so to quote Craig Rochelle, again, he speaks to that by saying, successful people do consistently what normal people do occasionally. Let me say that one more time. Successful people do consistently what normal people do occasionally. Our healthy practices must become intertwined with our DNA. That's the only way they become something more than just a passing fad in our life. So this next part, I want you to hang with me, okay? One small practice in making this happen is to stop saying I'm trying and start saying I am or I do. For instance, I'm trying to eat healthier. And instead say, I eat a dominant ratio of healthy and whole foods. Now, I know that sounded a little clunky, but my point is, like, if you're just saying, well, I'm trying to eat healthier, but I can eat this cake tonight. And if that same person offers you the cake and instead you say, well, actually, I'm choosing to eat healthy right now, they're going to go ahead and say, okay, well, let me take this back from you, all right? So by doing this, you're eliminating the options you give yourself. So it's not I'm trying, it's I do. So I understand this sounds kind of like positive affirmation type stuff. But here's the deal. Us humans have a huge desire to live into the identity that we think others see us as. When you start openly talking about what you were doing, it raises the level of accountability and begins to guide your decisions, sometimes even subconsciously. And ultimately, it will be subconscious decisions. So as you get some practices together, write them down and begin to repeat to yourself what it is that you do. So, for example, I read my Bible every morning. I exercise every day. I think about what I say before I say it, and I'm kind to those around me. When I'm in situations where maybe I used to have the option to do these things, now I just think, nope, this is who I am. This is what I do. It guides the decisions I make. So I'm digressing a little bit, but I'm trying to make a point that you have to start changing the way you think even before you start changing what you do. It's the only way you'll stick to the practices that pull you forward. Here's where I want us to hone in today. If you've been trying to make a change in certain areas of your life, but you keep falling off of healthy practices, you're just not alone, okay? All of us have been through that. A lot of times, I'd say it's due to us trying to do too much too fast. And though I stand by the fact that those elite athletes got where they are because of the same practices they've lived by since they were probably kids, over time, their capacity grew and probably even the methods of some of their practices. So, like them, we have to set the foundation. Our goal is this: lean into the 3 pillars that I focus on for in the meantime, which are mind, money, and movement. Find one thing in each of those categories to begin to create a practice around for the rest of this month. For your mind, maybe you need to focus on what God thinks about you instead of your own negative self-doubt. A practice would be to spend 5 minutes reading through the daily devotional that is offered every morning on the YouVersion Bible app. For your money, maybe you want to start saving some more. A great practice would be to make a budget for the month and stick to it with the ultimate goal of saving a certain dollar amount. You can go into your checking account and set up an automated draft from there into your savings account. So every week you could say, hey, I want $50 pulled from my checking account into my savings account. And you're going to budget that so that way you don't feel out of control. You know where your money's going and you know that you have a set withdrawal to your savings every week. And at the end of the month, you're going to see yourself closer to the number that you want to save. And finally, maybe you've been wanting to get healthy for a while physically. So let's say you cut out fried food for the rest of the month, or maybe just cut out eating out altogether, not going to fast food, not going to restaurants. That's a practice right there that's going to help in your health and in your wallet. So concluding thoughts. Without the proper practices in your life, you will not lead yourself in the direction that you most desire to go. Spend some time thinking about the practices that you know will begin to move the needle. I think you'll find pretty quickly that you can identify the practices you want to start working on. If this episode encouraged you, man, I would love if you're willing to rate it and share it with a friend. When you spread the word, it really helps me, and I'm excited about some of the momentum that I have going, and ultimately my goal is to bring as much valuable information and advice and wisdom as possible. I'm on this journey too, and so I'm researching and I'm learning, and I'm essentially just sharing what I'm learning with you from anything I read, from my experiences or whatever. So with all that said, I think that concludes our episode today. And again, if you or someone you know might be interested in the Meantime group, I would love to be able to give you or them more information about that. So you can go to timmyriggs.com and find one of the contact forms there and reach out to me. But other than that, continue to enjoy the here while working to get there in the meantime. I'll talk to you later.